Hello! Today we're going to talk about what does it take to be a manager and how do you get there. You know, being a manager is one of the hardest roles in an organization, but it can also be one of the most rewarding. According to a Harvard Business Review article, it's a path that only about 34% of people actually take. But what does it take to be a manager? And if this is truly a path that you want to travel, what steps can you take to start moving in that direction? This video will talk about the important traits that someone should possess to become a manager, and then we'll lay out some very actionable steps that you can take to start moving along that path. So let's get started. Hello and welcome. My name is Dawn Casey. With over 20 years of human resource experience and leading human resource departments, I now help people with their career challenges, changes, and of course questions. This is the Career Rescue Coach YouTube channel, and welcome. What makes this channel a little bit different is that I've been helping employees navigate the career waters for over 20 years now. And I've had a fair amount of success myself in my own career, and I share my experiences and stories with you throughout my videos. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe. Now, let's get into what does it take to be a manager and how do we get there? When I first started out in management, I more or less kind of stumbled into it. At the time, I worked for a large financial company, and they were starting a new department that was a customer service type center. The Service Center acted as a second human resource department for companies and answered questions about employees' retirement plans and their health benefit plans as well. Various team members were assigned different clients, with each team having about 15 clients. Our roles, we had to learn the ins and outs of all of these company plans, like the back of our hand. And we got calls throughout the day from various employees with all sorts of questions. It was challenging, but it was so much fun becoming an expert in these plans. After about 6 months, I was promoted, and I was offered the position of a supervisor. I had a team of about 5 people initially, and I was responsible for training them, answering questions, evaluating, and motivating them. I was in my early 30s about this time. I was lucky. I had a very supportive environment, supportive manager, and I loved my new job and I thrived. I eventually took on more employees and continued to grow with the company. I wanted to share this story with you because you don't always have the intention of moving into management. Sometimes you do stumble into it and you find that you enjoy it. But most of all, what's really important for that first management position is to have a really supportive work environment and a very supportive manager to be really successful. When moving into a management role, it does take a certain type of person or set of traits to be very successful in this type of role. Let's take a closer look at what those are. Number 1, desire to help others. At the very core, a person should have a desire to help others. It takes a lot of commitment to put the needs of your team before yours and your work second. Helping others is truly the core of the management role. Number 2, cares about others. The ability to care for others and empathize with others is critical in the management role. Employees will sense if a manager really cares or not. Caring about others comes across in the little ways, such as rewarding employees in a way that's meaningful to them. I have been fortunate to have a lot of really good managers throughout my career. I remember I had one lady in particular who would always start out our one-on-ones with asking me how I was doing, how my week was going. She genuinely cared about me, and as a result, I worked very hard at never letting her down. Employees do sense whether you care or not. Number 3, ability to communicate. Often managers are delivering news, information, and changes from the top down. Managers must be able to communicate positively and as a united front for the organization. The message is always we and never I. Managers must be able to bring people together and support upper management's initiatives, decisions, and programs, whether or not they agree with it personally or not. Number 4, ability to be fair. Once a person becomes a manager, they can no longer have staff as friends at work. They also don't want to play favorites or show dislike for anyone. Decisions should always be fair and done in a way that demonstrates equal treatment. When an employee first moves into a new management role, they are often promoted above their peers, unfortunately. This means they may have friends on the team, but they have to put those friendships aside and put very clear boundaries around those friendships. I've coached many managers on this topic over the years and have helped managers establish those boundaries, because if they don't, other employees will view these friendships as unfair treatment and favoritism inevitably. Number 5, the ability to deliver feedback in a kind way. It's one thing to deliver feedback, but it's another thing to be able to deliver in a kind and caring way. Both positive and negative feedback should be delivered in a very nice way so that it's respectful and comes across in a very helpful and kind way. I was fortunate to have some very specific training early in my career on this. We were constantly being trained on ways to deliver feedback and evaluated on our ability to do so. It was some of the best training I had in my entire career, and I carried that training throughout all my years throughout management. Number 6, the ability to motivate others. This is often difficult as a first-time manager. It's important for a manager to learn what motivates each individual and reward them and provide motivating feedback in a way that meets their needs. A trick I learned early in my career was to give what I call a motivational survey to employees and ask them to fill it out. It asked them questions about their likes and dislikes in regard to what motivated them. I still use this survey today, and it's a really great tool to start out with a new team with. Number 7, results-oriented. Good managers are results-oriented and pay attention to deadlines and desired outcomes. Managers are always looking at statistics, better ways to accomplish things, and ways to delegate to get the best results possible. Now, delegation is very hard for new managers since they're used to doing their own work, but it's very important that they get very used to giving away work and assigning projects so that they can get more done. Number 8, process-driven. Good managers are also process-driven. Anytime a process can be improved to save time, money, or improve an outcome, it should always be done. Managers should also be encouraging their team members to do the same thing. The status quo is never the sign of excellence. Innovation and improvement is what all managers should strive for. Over the years, every position I took, I left better than when I found it. I love creating processes and improving things. I've always been this way. It's something that as a new manager to get in the habit of. Always look for what can be improved or done better. Never ever settle for status quo. Number 9, technical capability. People are promoted typically to a management position based upon their technical capability. But when they become a manager, this is no longer the most important thing. So managers need to continue to work on their technical capability and continue growing their skills, because the skills for a manager role is very different than that of an individual contributor role. Number 10, ability to train others. Managers are always having to train their staff, hold meetings with their staff, and develop them. This means that both their technical skills need to continue to grow as well as their management skills. Continuing to take classes and learn systems is absolutely necessary to be able to train others. I can't emphasize this enough. A good manager always continues to learn, whether taking classes or acquiring new certifications or another degree. Managers must continue to learn and grow so that they're capable trainers. Every year I've taken classes or acquired another certification. I enjoy learning, so teaching others is easy because I love sharing new ideas and information, and because I'm always learning, I always have more to share. All right, now that we have reviewed the 10 traits that really make for a good manager, let's delve into how a person can go about moving into a management role. What are those actionable steps? Number 1, talk to your manager about your goals. Your manager is there to support you. There's no better person to confide in and help you reach your goals than your manager. The only way your manager will know that this is one of your goals is if you tell them. So let your manager know that you'd like to move into a management role. Ask for their advice and their guidance. Number 2, look for a mentor in the organization. Everyone benefits from a coach. Consider asking someone that you respect and that is well known and respected throughout the organization as well. Figure out ahead of time what type of meeting format you would like, frequency of meetings, etc. before meeting and making that request for that person. Number 3, look at taking some classes in management. Management is not something to jump into without training. Perhaps your company has a management training program. If so, ask your manager to help you enroll in it. If not, then consider taking some classes at a local college to help you prepare. This is going above and beyond what most people will do. By doing this, you will be in a much better position should a management role open up in the near future. Number 4, act like a leader. Help others on your team when times are tough. Make suggestions for process improvements. Contribute positively to team meetings. Offer to help your manager and ask for additional projects, and dress more professionally. Also, work on improving your soft skills like communication and conflict resolution. Taking on additional projects also helps you get noticed. Anytime you can volunteer for a project, take it. Projects often lead to promotions if they are done well. Number 5, track your performance. Create an Excel spreadsheet and track your work accomplishments, specific results, and client testimonials. Stay on top of industry trends and check for areas you could improve on. Track those as well. Track management and communication classes that you have taken. When you meet with your manager for your one-on-ones, share your progress and get input about your performance. Use the same Excel spreadsheet to create your own self-appraisal at annual review time, so you have something easy to reference. But also, it will help position you to make a case should a management role come up and you'd like to apply for it. Here are some final tips. Keep in mind that management starts off typically as a lead or supervisor role. Not all companies are large enough to have these roles. You may have to move out of the company in order to move up. Don't expect to move into a manager role right away. People often have to move up to a lead or supervisor position first. To expect a manager role right out of the gate, I'm sorry, but it's not realistic. So don't do that. Be prepared for longer hours. Management is an exempt position. This means that you'll no longer be paid for overtime, and the type of work is very different, so the pay is different accordingly. Often, you spend the majority of your day helping others, and your work comes last. This also means you may have to stay late on occasion to finish up a project or get last-minute things done, so be prepared. Become more organized with your time. Successful managers manage their time. You have to put into your calendar when you're going to work on your own projects and get things done. Block that time off, because if you don't, your time will be quickly eaten up. As a manager, I would always block my mornings off for my own work and to help my team. And then I keep my afternoons open for meetings that people wanted to schedule with me. It worked much better than having meetings all throughout my day where I was struggling to get things done. Plan your own training. Always start off your year by planning what training you'll attend. Whether you're scheduling conferences, training certification courses, get those on your calendar right away. I would also schedule training with individuals in the organization that had knowledge I needed. As an example, it's important to know what your company does. I would schedule time with engineers to learn about company products, or manufacturing to learn about their processes. There's a lot of company knowledge to learn, especially as a manager. Be open to feedback yourself. As manager's role, it's always evolving, and that means a manager should always be open to feedback. Ask others that are above you on how you're doing. Ask your team members if you can do anything differently to help them. Be open, and your employees will appreciate you that much more. We've talked about the 10 most important traits a potential manager should possess, and we've talked about some actionable steps that you can take today to start moving along the path of becoming a manager. Now, I'd like to share a final story with you that will help you along your journey. You know, I once had a manager who, she was known for being the toughest manager where I worked, and a lot of people didn't want to work for her, but I found her to be really fair. And she was also very good to those people who knew what they were doing and knew their job. And fortunately, I was one of those people. And so one day, after about a year of working for her, she asked me whether I'd like to work on a project for her. And I, of course, accepted. And this project was huge. It would take about 3 months to complete. So I accepted the challenge, and it did indeed take me about 3 months, during which time I checked in with her regularly, got her guidance, and then it resulted in creating new processes, updating policies, and creating some tools. It was probably one of the scariest things I ever did, because in the end I had to do a whole presentation to the entire management team and then to the rest of the center. It was just mortifying. But as it turned out, it was one of the best things that ever happened to me, and I loved the experience. So my message to you, if you truly want to become a manager, always look for projects and opportunities to shine and stand out. You never know where this will end up. Oftentimes projects are gateways into promotions, so keep that in mind. So please remember to subscribe to this channel. Don't forget to check out my Career Rescue Coach Facebook page for great articles and advice. Be sure to leave some comments in the bottom. I'd love to hear from you and get some great conversation going. Here also are my social media addresses so that you can check me out in other places. And I will soon have a website. It's coming very soon. It's called the Career Rescue Coach, of course. So thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Dawn Casey as a Career Rescue Coach, and remember, change your job, change your life. Be safe and be well.